Like if I did a ditty and I was like, listen, babe,
Did a ditty.
this is just for me. And so if you need to close your eyes and just pretend this is whatever I want to watch. I think the second it was actually happening, even if I knew for 100% sure the only reason you were doing it was for me, I think this would turn into a much darker story where I would leave the person in the hotel room dead forever.
That's so sweet.
For those of you who do not know who Destiny is a gentleman who
it's a guy.
Yeah, it's a dude who looks like so. This is a Destiny, Gabrielle. I'm gonna make us disappear. Boop. He's the one on the far right. And he is actually, so he's.
That is not what I was envisioning when you said there was some.
I'm gonna actually make us a little bit smaller, and then you can see him talk for a second. So like, this is a Destiny, and then I'll tell you the whole story.
This guy's sending you shit. It's because he's already got a lawyer, he's already paid a retainer, and he's probably ready to f you. It's spooky and scary. If you don't have any, this is pretty spicy.
I just got here.
Ex-Steven Crowder employee.
Okay, so basically, if I was going to summarize this guy before we even get into this story,
My hair's crazy.
He got on my radar because he became this like central conversation among right-wing pundits because somehow his open marriage became very public and everyone started talking about it. And so all these right-wingers were like, dude, your marriage is going to fail.
And he was like, nah.
Yeah, and they're like, well, like what Matt Walsh said is he's like, what's the point of being married? He's like, that's
maybe tax benefits if you're using them.
I guess, yeah, that's true. But he's like,
insurance.
Like Matt Walsh's take was he is so snide. It's amazing. He might be the most smug conservative. He's
so funny.
He's hilarious. And he's so smug.
He doesn't give a...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's great. So his take was great. And it was all just like, what's the point? Yada, yada. I have, I am open to like different types of relationships. If like two people that are married decide they want to do XYZ, I don't care what they do. Man. I just don't care.
Yeah.
But my opinion is if you're predicting success or failure of your marriage, I think open relationship is like that's going to fail.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Swinger, totally different story.
I always wonder about swingers though. If they meet as swingers and they're like going into it being like, we're swingers, I feel like that has a good success rate. But I feel like if it's been a traditional marriage and then they decide that they're swingers, that might not go so good.
I agree with that. But here's my only response to that is that I think everybody, okay, so let's say that they're traditional marriage and they've never swung and they try to become swingers.
Okay.
They're going to have the first time that they do this, or maybe they ease their way into it, whatever. Like, this time we want to do it in the same room. And then the next time it's like, okay, you can blow him, but that's it. And whatever.
Yeah.
But they get to a point where they're watching each other have sex with other people. I think they're going to figure out very quickly whether they're both
for them
into
or
it
not.
or not.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're not into it, it is going to be a dagger of absolute jealous fury that I can't even literally imagine what that would be like, to be honest. And
I would not like that life.
No.
Personally.
I would fucking murder someone who had sex with you in front of me. Even if the whole thing was like administered by me, like I was like, yeah, I think I want, like if I did a ditty and I was like, listen, babe,
did a ditty.
This is just for me. And so if you need to close your eyes and just pretend this is whatever I want to watch. I think the second it was actually happening, even if I knew for 100% sure the only reason you were doing it was for me, I think this would turn into a much darker story where I would leave the person in the hotel room dead forever.
That's so sweet.
I'm just, because like
speculating here.
Remember where you talked about that the other night and we were saying like imagine the fact that people actually have had the moment where they walk in on their spouse having sex with another person, like where they completely do not see it coming. The idea like that happened, because the only thing I can compare it to is I'm like, what if that happened with us? And I'm talking about someone who
which one are we talking about? I'm so lost.
We're done with dead kids.
Okay,
we're done with dead kids.
God, stop saying it.
I'm talking about walking in on your spouse with someone else, and I'm saying like, I can only go like, okay, if that was me.
Now you're giving me an anxiety attack. Now
I know, that's why I
need to know where my kids are.
They're fine. Because like if that happened with us, it would be completely unforeseen. Like I suspected nothing. I thought everything was perfect. I had no idea there was any scenario where you were even looking or talking to another dude, and I walked in on that. Like, I really genuinely do believe that temporary insanity is a completely 100% legitimate defense for a person that happens to. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why there is temporary insanity as a thing.
Yeah, but I don't think that works very often, dude.
I think it does.
You think that...
You don't get like off because...
Well, then, so it's not... I mean, you don't get...
Well, it's the same thing if an insane person does something, they don't get off. They just like go to the insane asylum, whatever you call it.
I don't know, man. I feel like all joking aside, in Texas, if someone breaks into your home and you smoke them,
you're straight up allowed to. Oh my gosh, how great was the Florida chief of police or
amazing.
who was? Oh my gosh,
amazing.
We should find that clip.
He literally says, if someone comes into your home, not only are you okay to shoot them, we recommend.
We prefer
if you shoot and kill the suspect. And he said it over and over and over.
We prefer that you do.
Correct. But I think that...
I love Florida.
I think that if you walk in on someone having sex with your spouse in your house, I don't see how that would be any less deserving of you smoking that person. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You said for sure. Like, I didn't know where you were going because you kind of went like this, and I was like, I don't know if she's agreeing.
No, that's like the craziest thing that could happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're
allowed to...
I mean, you're not...
You're not, but
like, because
it's understandable.
Totally. The reason that you smoke the person who's broken into your house is because the assumption that they are a deadly threat, mm-hmm. right? A person who has penetrated your wife, or you are looking at your husband penetrating someone else. Mm-hmm. Like, why would, I don't know.
It breaks your entire reality. Like,
all at once.
That's yeah, you literally go insane.
And you're like, we're not that far removed from monkeys. Let's not pretend that we are. It's like, dude, if someone's going to go into a deadly rage in that scenario, I just don't like, we have laws to hold civility together, right? It's like civilization relies on laws so that people behave in a certain way. And it's like, if you fuck someone's wife in their house while their husband is not there, it's like, I don't know why we have this whole institution of marriage if when you do that, you are not taking at the very least a deadly risk if you got caught. You know what I mean? It's like, there's like, what's a worse thing you could do to a person than that? Take
all their money. Oh, then cheat on them? I was thinking about
then fuck a guy's wife.
Yeah.
Or, whatever.
That's, what I'm saying. Not many things, I would say.
Maybe if you rape the dude. That's probably worse.
I mean, the legal system is set up in such a way where, in theory, if you don't do anything, you're supposed to get compensated or whatever. But that kind of doesn't ever really play out that way.
If you walk in on your...
Like, aren't most marriages, if they end that way...
No.
Things are voided?
California is a no-fault divorce.
So
like,
weird.
in California, you could be a doctor who went to fucking school for 100 years... right? To get your doctor, to get your medical license. You could go this is a real scenario. Like, go to school for 8 years, put yourself in $450,000 worth of debt, get a job where now, you're making $400,000 a year, which is great, but you're paying off your loans. You live in a half decent house and you've been able to save up, a few $100,000, but you're getting there. You're looking at the long term. You have 2 kids and your wife is on board with you. You guys did it together, whatever. You go to work and slave all day, and then you come home one day and some dude has your wife bent over a bed and is pulverizing your wife. And when you don't kill the guy because you do life in prison in California,
she still gets half.
She'll get the kids. She'll take all, half your savings. She'll get alimony from you, which is
so. What's the point of getting married?
Well, I mean, you hope that your wife wouldn't do that to you. Hopefully you vetted your wife enough to know that that's...
There should be so much more.
Correct.
To it.
Yeah. Just no fault divorce. I mean, it's one thing, like, I can understand how it would get
complicated. Where did that come from?
I don't know. I mean, I do understand to simplify a thing, you take out fault divorce, because if you're going back and forth, well, he didn't pick up the kids. He's like, well, you never did the laundry. Like that kind of dumb shit. But straight up provable infidelity, like, how does that have no impact on how everything gets distributed? And like
I have no idea.
A girl can just completely disrespect, or a guy. Yeah. Like if the girl's the breadwinner and the guy just like takes everything from her and then just disrespects her like that, and then they break up, and then she has to pay him money for the next 10, 15 years. Rogan talked about a friend of his who is, he's got a lot of wealthy friends. This guy is like a wealthy guy who was married to this woman for 4 years. Mm-hmm. He was already wealthy before they got married. She was there for 4 years. They had no children together. And when they split up, he, in the divorce, had to pay her $500,000 for life unless she gets remarried.
Whoa.
You're like, in California, you're like,
so she's never getting remarried.
Of course not.
She'll have a long-term boyfriend.
If not multiple, like she has total financial freedom because she just because she married a rich guy for a few years.
That's so crazy.
And had she fucked a bunch of guys, that would have had no impact on it.
That's so wild.
Yes. It's like
How is no fault divorce a good idea?
I don't know. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and you'll know next time me and my beautiful wife put out more episodes of Play with Matches.